It's time to uncover the story of the most misunderstood dog in the history of cinema. Here are 19 reasons to watch Cujo. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is a place where I talk to you about Stephen King. And in this video, we are continuing our walk through the movies and adaptations of Stephen King's work. And we are tackling the 1983 Lewis Teague-directed movie Cujo, based on the 1981 novel of the same name by Stephen King, of course, my first ever King read. Now we'll get to those 19 reasons in a moment, but first a little bit of plugging for you. Now, if you're a regular here, you'll know that the Constant Writers podcast has finished season 1. There's 6 great interviews for you to check out. That's me talking to indie horror authors about them, their work, and their relationship with Stephen King. So do check that out. You can watch it right here on YouTube, or you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like indie horror author recommendations, then hit the link in the description below. Sign up for my newsletter. You'll get a new recommendation every week. You'll also get a very short story from me. And as an ebook, you'll get my mini collection Mirrored plus 10 tiny tales of terror for free just for signing up. Isn't that a nice treat? And lastly, you can get my book, The Ultimate Stephen King Quiz Book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, assuming that by the time this video goes out, I haven't been sued and forced to stop. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. If it's not there, that's why. But otherwise, you can find the description, you can find the links in the description, and you can pick up this book, and you can run your own Stephen King trivia night whenever you feel like it. So that's enough plugging. Let's get on to Cujo. So the way I'm going to do this, as I've been trying to do with these, is I will cluster any spoilery reasons towards the end, and I will give you a spoiler alert before we get there. So the first bunch of reasons will hopefully just work whether you've watched the movie or not. And then, like I say, if there's anything that potentially spoils things, I'll let you know that they're coming, so you can bail if you need to bail. Otherwise, you can just watch all 19 reasons. And while we're talking 19 reasons, if you want to see my 19 reasons to read the book Cujo, then just hit the link up there, or maybe wait for it to come up at the end of this video, and you can go and see what I thought about that. Now, in terms of Cujo the movie, at the time of recording, so I watched this on my DVD. Yes, DVDs are still a thing in my world, but at the time of recording, you can buy or rent this on a bunch of places, including here on YouTube and on Amazon. And as I say, at the time of recording, it's streaming on Paramount Plus. So hopefully that helps you track this big old furry beast down. Anyway, enough rambling and slowing down. Here are 19 reasons to watch Cujo. So front and centre on my reasons for this are the King seal of approval. Now, in his book, Stephen King Goes to the Movies, at the end of this, he lists his 10 favourite adaptations of his work in alphabetical order. And Cujo makes that list of 10. Now, considering King doesn't really remember writing the book, something obviously impressed him. And it's this movie. And it's a good movie. So go and check it out. Something I really like about this is the split we get between the domestic drama at the start of the film, followed by the agonising, claustrophobic, all-out terror of Tad and Donna being in the car, being surrounded by Cujo, the big old barking St. Bernard. I mean, by the time you're done with this movie, you feel like you've been through the ringer with them. It's exhausting but exhilarating at the same time. So let's talk about the dog for a bit, because after all, he is the fucking star of this. Now, number one, it's important to remember that Cujo was a good boy. None of this was his fault, but you already knew that. Okay, let's get onto the dogs in the movie. And I say dogs in the plural there correctly, because depending on what you read, there are either 4 or 5 St. Bernards used for filming. There was also a mechanical St. Bernard's head, and there are a couple of heavily disguised Rottweilers for a couple of scenes because, frankly, the St. Bernards didn't look scary enough. They're too big, cuddly, and friendly. So yeah, lots of doggos. Oh yeah, there was also a man in a dog suit because, sure. Now, to get the dogs to attack the car, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that that's what happens, because if you watch the trailer, you'll see it happen. But to get those dogs attacking the car, basically their handlers hid their favourite toys inside the car, so they were all really hyped and trying to get at it. The only problem was, because it was their toy, they were really happy and excited about it, so the crew had to basically try and tie down their tails to stop these wagging tails being caught on camera, making it look like Cujo was actually really happy to see Donna and Tad, and not trying to kill them because his brain was addled with rabies. Now, they caught most of the shots, apart from one little scene where you do see quite clearly Cujo, he's just doing his little happy dance. Now, the foam on the dog's mouth was actually this very sweet mixture of egg whites and sugar, which tasted really good for the dogs. So they were constantly licking it off. So the crew had to work really quickly with those shots, slather the dogs in foam, get the shot, and then get done. But hey, those dogs deserved a sweet treat. I mean, in my opinion, they deserved an Oscar. So yeah. Talking about Oscars, Stephen King has gone on record a few times as saying that he believes that Dee Wallace deserved an Oscar for her performance in this movie. And when you watch it, it's hard to argue. She is incredible. The only problem is that people in horror movies don't get Oscars because fucking idiots. Now, Dee Wallace's performance is also very real. She's also often said that she's quite regularly been praised by parents who have watched this movie, particularly for the moment where she just snaps at Tad in frustration. It does feel like a very real parental moment.
All right, I'll get you, Daddy!
And sticking with Dee Wallace and real performance, that scene where Tad is having a seizure, the actor who played Tad, Danny Pintoro, accidentally bit Dee Wallace's finger during that, so her reaction there is also very, very real. Fun fact that doesn't spoil anything, Tad has a cuddly St. Bernard in his bedroom. So lastly, before we get to the spoilers, in his excellent book, Stephen King at the Movies, which I have there, the author Ian Nathan quite perfectly describes this film as bracingly unsentimental. Bracingly unsentimental, and I think that is spot on. This movie is so bleak, but so captivating at the same time, and for my money, at least at this point in the journey, it's the most successful Stephen King adaptation in terms of an adaptation of his books. Okay, from here on in, I'm going to be talking about how the movie compares to the book. I'm going to be picking out favourite scenes, favourite lines, Easter eggs and stuff, potential spoilery things. So consider this your spoiler alert, and if you need to dip out here and come back soon. Otherwise, stick around because I've got a few more reasons for you to go and watch Cujo. Good boy. So let's talk about how this differs from the book. One of the big things is that all of the supernatural stuff around Frank Dodd, the killer from the Dead Zone, is ditched from the movie, and it's a smart move. We don't need it, and also at this point in time, space, all of that kind of stuff, the Dead Zone movie hadn't even come out, so it kind of wouldn't have made sense anyway. And like I said, we don't need it for the story. The story's about the dog. Yeah? The movie also does away with Steve Kemp rage jizzing all over Donna's bed after he's trashed their house, which is kind of a shame, but again, I probably understand. And by kind of a shame, I mean very good thing. However, the biggest change here has to be the ending. Now, I'm going to paraphrase the Muppets Christmas Carol here for a moment, but the ending basically, we see Tad, who did not die. Yep, Tad survives, wildly different to the book, and actually something that Stephen King has said he wishes he'd done with the book himself. Now, personally, I think the book ending's stronger. I think it's bleaker and more in fitting with the tone of the rest of the novel. But on the flip side, for the movie, it actually works really well for how the movie pans out. So both endings are incredibly valid and well thought out, I think. Good job, Stephen King. Good job, Lewis Teague. Longest fucking trains go past this fucking... I mean, come on. So time for favourite quotes. Now, there aren't many zingers in this one, to be honest, although I do enjoy Dee Wallace simply saying, "Fuck you, dog."
Fuck you, dog.
But for me, it's the moment where Joe Camber realises that Cujo is rabid, and the way he delivers his lines with sheer terror in his voice and on his face is just spot on.
Oh my god, you're rabid.
As for favourite scenes, I mean, pretty much anything where that dog is battering that crappy old car. absolutely great. But who can also forget that really creepy scene where Cujo is out there in the early morning fog and he's battling his rabies-raddled brain, doing everything he can to not go and attack his little boy who has come out there looking for him. Truly unnerving and creepy.
Cujo, what's the matter? Cujo, it's me, Britt. Take it easy, boy.
Oh, and we also have to mention the final confrontation where Donna gets out of the car, finds that baseball bat, and realizes it's now or never, the dog or her and Tad. Oh yeah, we are ready to finish this. So not many Easter eggs in this one, but a couple of interesting connections. So Lewis Teague would go on to direct Cat's Eye, and Dee Wallace was of course in E.T., and two of her kids from E.T., Drew Barrymore and Henry Thomas, would also both go on to feature in future King adaptations. And then of course there's the image of a St. Bernard, which we see quite a lot in future adaptations. Not quite as much as we see Red and White Plymouth Furies, but close. Lastly, I'll come back to how effective this one is as both a drama and a scary fucking horror film. I think it captures the two things that Stephen King in his written work does the best, and it captures them really well on screen, and it's aged very, very well. It doesn't feel that dated at all. Definitely doesn't need remaking, and it is still chilling, and for a movie from 1983, well, I don't think there's much more you can ask for than that. It is well worth your time. Okay, there we go, 19 reasons to watch the 1983 movie of Cujo. If you've seen it, do let me know what you think. Let me know your favourite parts, all of that kind of stuff. And don't forget to check out various things you can do to keep your bits of King-related content from me ticking over if you can't wait another week for a video. You can sign up to my newsletter and you'll get my mini collection mirrored, plus 10 Tiny Tales of Terror for free just for signing up. You'll also get a short story from me every week and an indie horror author to check out. You can also pick up the Ultimate Stephen King quiz book, which I wrote, spent 2 years of my life writing, published last year. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble now, links in the description. And of course, you can check out season 1 of the Constant Writers podcast, where I talk to indie horror authors about them, their work, and Stephen King. And if you want to come and say hi on Instagram, I'm at Dave Musson. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks as ever for spending some time with me, and do come back again next time because, well, the ice is gonna break.